Volume 4, Blood Prison Day 1. Chapter 1, The Morning Song. LV Yong perished. LV Yang's heirs, but no great ability, simply cannot hold up the Great Ying dynasty. Great Ying to the end of the country. Great Jin dynasty. Great Yuan dynasty. The two great powers quickly send troops, to the fastest speed, to divide the Great Ying dynasty more territory. A time, Yingju land smoke. Lu Shen city. Gu Hai returned from destroying Lu Yong, and the people of the former divine, foothills, dynasty all recognized Gu Hai. All 12 cities recognized Ancient Sea. When Ancient Sea entered Lu Divine City, his first decree was to rename Lu Divine City. The Faux Divine City has gone through an unprecedented catastrophe, but the spirit of Wangfu Chaoguo will never die. From today, the Faux Divine City will be renamed Chaoguo. Chaoge City. Let us always remember Huangfu Chaoge for eternity. Gu Hai gave a cry that was transmitted to all the cities of the Great Han Dynasty through the Qi, Yun Hai. Chaoge. Countless officials and citizens were first slightly stunned, not expecting that Gu Hai had just grasped Foothill Divine City and started to take drastic measures. But the next moment they heard the name change to Chaoge. All the officials and citizens were moved for a moment. Honor the Emperor's decree. Countless officials called out respectfully. Some could see that Gu Hai was enlisting the hearts of the people in order to better control the 12 cities, but this enlistment no one could refuse. One could only be grateful. The other day, Wangfu Chaoge had told Gu Hai about the success of the officials of the 12 cities. Although the 12 cities had all joined the Great Han Dynasty, Gu Hai understood that only Chaoge City was under his complete control, while the other 11 cities were still in limbo. Therefore, the first step was to quickly carry out political reform. The 200 officials brought from the 9 and 5 islands were quickly made to be placed in all the important positions in the 11 cities and poles, but, in order not to appear abrupt, they were all deputy positions. For example, there was only one city lord in each city, but Gu Hai had placed the 12 former shopkeepers with the strongest abilities as deputy city lords and promoted the original city official to become the second deputy city lord. And the position vacated by that official, in turn, allowed Gu Hai to arrange for someone to take over. As a result, among the major cities, the original official's power didn't become smaller, and even got promoted. But, again, Gu Hai's people were very cleverly placed in a country's information, horrifyingly huge, not a moment to finish reading. But time is running out. Gu Hai can only find another way to spread all the information flat. The line of sight in all the information on a sweep, and the brow of the center of the heart. Each remnant of the chessboard has a Gu Hai consciousness split, more than 9,000 Gu Hai consciousness. Each Gu Hai look at a letter of information. In the twinkling of an eye, countless information has been looked at clearly. Gu Hai quickly digested, constantly combing through everything in the 12 cities and poles. One decree after another was continuously sent out. Gu Hai couldn't stop for a moment, because Gu Hai had a great sense of urgency at the moment. One by one, news came over that the Great Yuan Imperial Dynasty had gone all out this time, swallowing the Gongjin sect, the Greedy Wolf sect, the Great Huang Dynasty's territory, as well as nearly half of Yingju's territory. It was now in contact with the Great Jin Dynasty's Zhenan army. These 12 cities in the Ancient Sea were bordered by the sea to the east, and the south, west, and north were all territories seized by the Great Yuan Imperial Dynasty. Nowadays, the 12 cities were in the encirclement of the Doyuan Imperial Dynasty. They were basically the food in the mouth of the Doyuan Imperial Dynasty. So how could the Doyuan Imperial Dynasty not eat them? That's why it didn't have a large army to press forward, and it was important to grab more territory in Yingji first. Therefore, Gu Hai had to be quick. While the people still had Huangfu Chaoge in their hearts, using Huang Fu Chaoju's residual heat to completely stabilize the people's hearts, and doing his best to be able to save these cities. Lu Shen's city was renamed Chaoju. The former Imperial Palace Hall was renamed Huang Fu Hall, and Gu Hai arranged for people to erect sculptures of Huang Fu Chaoju and the 12 cities as soon as possible. Let the hearts of the people, the hearts of the army, not to forget Huang Fu Chaoju. 200 officials, but Gu Hai each sent a faux stone man for specialized protection. After all, those who came from the 9-5 Islands, their cultivation was too weak. On this day, after Gu Hai once again approved a large number of decrees, he went out and took a long breath. Lord, Master, Gu Chen, however, walked up somewhat apprehensively. Gu Hai looked at Gu Chen in doubt. Master, I have an idea. I don't know, Gu Chen squirmed. Just say what you have. I'm rather busy these days. I don't have time to talk too much with you, Gu Hai said suspiciously. Master, I want to go out and pick up some wind, Gu Chen said expectantly. Gu Hai didn't react for a moment. I feel that my singing has hit a bottleneck. I want to go out on my own to experience and find inspiration, and turn around and make music that everyone will love to listen to, Gu Chen said expectantly. Bottleneck, finding inspiration, making music, Gu Hai rubbed his temples. Why were these words so out of place when spoken by Gu Chen? I know I shouldn't be like this. I'm only a heaven gradekin. I should follow my master. It's just that the world is so big. I want to see it, Gu Chen said expectantly. Gu Hai stared at Gu Chen for a while. Inside, Gu Chen was incomparably apprehensive. After a while, Gu Hai laughed. Gu Chen, you know what? In the beginning, even though your character displeased me, but after all, I didn't think of remodeling your mind. Do you know why? I don't know. Gu Chen shook his head. Broken army. The consciousness is given by Lu Yong. All his will is dominated by Lu Yong. Although he has a soul, he does not have a mind of his own. Although I disliked your character in the beginning, but in the end, it was you. I don't remodel you, and I don't want to change you. Everything you are is up to you to develop yourself. I only hope that you can be positive and work hard in the direction you like to go, so that you can one day be able to help me, Gu Hai solemnly said. Master, you're letting me go, but I heard you say the other day that there might still be a threat from the Great Yuan Imperial Dynasty. Don't you want me to help? Gu Chen was slightly stunned. No need. Gu Hai, I am not so bad that I can't live without anyone. Go, before I change my mind. Gu Hai laughed. Yes, Master, you are the best master in the world. I'll compose songs on the way, and I'll definitely sing them all to you when I return. Gu Chen was moved. Gu Hai's face darkened. Get lost. As Gu Chen left, Gu Hai continued to be busy. After another 3 days, Gu Hai's 800 decrees were all sent out to the 12 cities. The decrees issued in the past few days, but it was a group of old officials who were shocked. The efficiency of the new emperor is also too horrible, right? 6 days, 800 decrees. The officials suddenly had an intuitive understanding of the new emperor, although they still didn't know much about Gu Hai's character. But this ability to govern was terrifying to the extreme, and they also had more admiration for Gu Hai. Your Majesty, there is a flying boat from Silver Moon City. The leader, calling himself Shangwen Trace, seeking to see your Majesty. A guard came to report. Oh, Shangwen Scar. It's too good of a time to come. Gu Hai laughed. Soon, Shangwen Trace led the first batch of officials that Gu Hai had brought into Silver Moon City in. They passed into the Imperial Palace to meet Gu Hai. Greetings to my Emperor. Long live my Emperor. The group of officials were extremely respectful. Greetings, Your Majesty. Shangwen Trace also smiled. After half a year, Shangwen Trace's aura around his body had become even more introverted, seemingly ordinary, but Gu Hai saw a powerful confidence in his eyes. Obviously, the cultivation level had improved very tremendously. "How's it going in Silver Moon City?" Gu Hai asked. "Your Majesty, don't worry. Silver Moon City is temporarily guarded by Silver Moon Villa and Mu Feng with the Wood Rudder disciples. Everything is in order at the first piano building on this street." An official smiled respectfully. "Tang Chu." Gu Hai looked at the official and said. The official said with a solemn expression, "You have been following me for the longest time. In the past, before the establishment of the 9-5 Islands, at that time, you were also in charge of a country's Grand Treasurer exclusively, with a lot of experience. And now that the first piano building on this street has been operating for so long, I guess you must have a certain knowledge of the business in the cultivator world as well, right?" Gu Hai looked at the official. "Yes, Your Majesty," Tang Chu nodded. "Your batch of 60 officials are the first batch of officials to operate in the first kin building on this street. Here is a batch of information. You guys go back and read them first. Meanwhile, I will send a large number of strong men at your disposal, presided over by Tang Chu, to open branches for me and open up new territories," Gu Hai said in a deep voice. "Yes," Tang Chu and a group of officials answered. Gu Hai handed out a large amount of information to Tang Chu. Tang Chu greeted the crowd of officials and hugged the information back to his residence for reading. "Silver Moon City is one of our contact points. News from the 9-5 Islands are all transmitted to Silver Moon City before being passed on to you. This is a letter from the Crown Prince to you." Shangwen Trace took out a letter and gave it to Gu Hai. Gu Hai quickly opened it and read it. Looking at it, Gu Hai's eyes narrowed slightly. "Great Brightness King God. I also heard from the person who delivered the letter that this Great Brightness King God, as if he's coming to repay you for your favor," Shangwen Trace said suspiciously. Gu Hai was silent for a while, narrowed his eyes, and shook his head. "Repaying favors? Heh, this Great Brightness King God is not coming for good. Oh, bad comer." Shangwen Trace raised his eyebrows. Gu Hai nodded. "That's troublesome. This Great Brightness King God is a troublesome character, and is super strong." Shangwen Trace frowned. "Oh, super strength. Open Heavenly Palace?" Gu Hai asked. Shangwen Trace nodded. "How is it compared to Lu Yong?" Gu Hai wondered. "LV Yong? Oh, it's not its enemy at all." Shangwen Trace laughed bitterly. "What do you mean?" Gu Hai said doubtfully. "Opening the Heavenly Palace is just a generalized cultivation. Human beings have 3 souls and 7 pranas. When one cultivates to the 5th prana, that is, at the 5 infant realm, one can impact the Heavenly Palace. And the so-called Heavenly Palace is the place where the 3 souls reside," Shangwen Trace explained. "The Heavenly Palace dwells the 3 souls in the head." Gu Hai was puzzled. "Yes, the Heavenly Palace is divided into 3 layers, each housing the 3 souls of heaven, earth and man. Lu Yong has only opened the lower Heavenly Palace that houses the human soul. Perhaps it's the peak of the lower Heavenly Palace, but, in the end, it's only the lower Heavenly Palace," Shangwen Trace explained. 3 layers of Heavenly Palace: Upper Heavenly Palace, Middle Heavenly Palace, and Lower Heavenly Palace, housing the 3 souls of heaven, earth, and man. Yes, back then, the old man who was a chess watcher was the one who had all 3 layers of the Heavenly Palace open, before he was qualified to play against the heavens, wanting to become an immortal with 1 impact. Lu Yong just opened the Lower Heavenly Palace only. It's far worse than Old Man Chess Viewer. What about the Great Bright King God? At least open the Middle Heavenly Palace. You said at least open the Middle Heavenly Palace. Least. What does that mean? I can only be sure that his Middle Heavenly Palace is definitely open. Whether the Upper Heavenly Palace is open or not, I'm not sure." Shangwen Trace laughed bitterly.